I'd like to welcome everybody to this afternoon's town board work session, Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I'm going to ask everybody if you would please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So we have a number of items on our town board agenda today. We're also, I know it's not on the agenda, we are going to have an executive session. Just the nature of negotiations are sometimes you don't hit a Thursday clock in or a Wednesday clock in. So we are going to have an executive session, talk about ongoing negotiations relative to a contract and a personnel matter related to an individual. So, but first, our town board items. So we have a public hearing continuing this evening on the appeal of the Historic Preservation Commission decision on 400 Mill Street. Then there's an ensuing resolution under planning for that. So if you want to make them, that planning component, we could motion it right after the public hearing. That'd probably be the most appropriate. Take it out of order. Okay. It's like planning 1 or 2 or something. So yeah, it's the first one. Okay, so then we have a number of development review actions. The first is seeker determination on 1789 Dodge Road, Z 2020-15. The second is the resolution 539 and the adoption of local law to amend the zoning map 1789 Dodge Road, Z 2020-15. Any questions about those? The next one is resolution 538. It's written as a denial to amend the bicentennial comprehensive plan for 1790, 1860, and 1920 North French Road and 999 Campbell, a portion of BCPA 2024-01. Reason it's written as a denial is because it had a recommended denial from first the planning department and then second the planning board. And that's not related to its current land use, but is related to its current zoning, but it's related to its aspirational zoning, or not related to the. So the land use in the comp plan shows it as green space. The planning department and I think the planning board.
It's
It's shown as green space though on the land use plan.
Recreation open space.
Right, so what we're considering here is the comprehensive plan amendment, right? This isn't a rezoning action.
Hang on a minute, I have a question for Dan. I thought it was something else.
It's shown as green space.
Yeah, I know, but the conversations I've had with Dan are different.
So the property is shown on the comprehensive plan as green space for portions of it that represented wetlands when the map was put together. And then there's the remainder of the parcel that's not in green is in gray for light industrial use. So the property has a light industrial designation for areas that are not in wetlands.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't think it was SA.
well, so the question in front of us.
Sorry?
What is it currently zoned?
I think it's zoned SA.
Oh, but
right,
it's
so the zoning
planned
doesn't-
use is,
right.
okay.
So the comp plan is different land use pattern than the SA, and what the developer or property owner is looking for is altogether different use, which is residential mixed use, right?
Yep.
So the question in front of us is there's a bicentennial comprehensive plan amendment that would seek to change the comp plan. In this case, the resolution's written as a denial. So this is where, as a board, we've got a little bit of tough work to do on this one. The parcel is a unique parcel. because it's bounded by Cross Point and the 990. But it's seemingly stuck parcel at the moment. So the question is, do we want to intercede here, and change the comprehensive plan to show something different, knowing that we're gonna be dealing with an ensuing zoning no matter what, right? It's not zoned correctly irregardless. So, I don't know what the board plans to do with this, or I guess this is kind of my way of saying, my sense is everybody's been a little confused about this project. I kind of have an idea of where I want to go. That seems to fly in the face of other people in the town. So, I guess I'm asking is, the board, where does the board want to see this head? Want to accept the denial, and trend towards having to fix the zoning with something else? If so, how do you figure out how to deal with the property, and what the property could become or won't become? And then if you say, I'm more interested in seeing the comprehensive plan amendment pass, then it would probably take two of us, at least maybe three of us, to basically say that I'm willing to sponsor a resolution to have this written in an affirmative with the completed seeker that would be required to write it in an affirmative. Is that clear as mud?
I got it, I understand.
I think the other thing I would recommend is you could go back and consult the SA land study that you did, which looked at the suburban agriculturally zoned properties and recommended alternative zonings for those, if in fact you're going to pursue the change to the SA properties in town. And I believe that study indicates that that property should remain as light industrial.
Although we haven't accepted that SA,
Correct.
those SA findings yet, right? So I don't know, the conversation that led to that recommendation. My personal feeling, and Dan and I disagree with this, and his department and I disagree with this, is that we have an abundance of land at Cross Point with a current MTC of parking, because the commercial office environment has not come back to demand the parking space, that property is going to go through fundamental changes over the next few years, that Uniland has already asked for and been awarded new zoning on the front of that parcel, which is mixed use, which would be consistent with the front of this parcel, and this parcel sitting between the 990 and the Cross Point piece seems to be a space where if you put housing, there wouldn't be a lot of there is some opposition from immediate neighbors, but there's not a lot of intensive housing use already in the space. So I think that it's, personally, I think the parcel is going to be stuck because I don't see the R&D coming back in that area anytime soon, but I'm curious, again, I'm one single voice on a board of 5 on this one, so anybody else have thoughts?
I have a question. If you agree with the planning board on this piece of legislation, does that mean we vote yes?
No, it means, it means you vote yes to a denial.
Okay.
But I don't know I don't recall whether this was a full planning board or where everyone was present, because we've had,
What's the vote on that?
it was 5 with 2 out.
2 out, yep.
Well, and the vote was 5-0.
Yes,
Yeah,
2 absent.
2 people were absent.
Yeah, so what
Yeah. We've had several planning board meetings where the full board has not been there. That's why I wanted to check.
This is one of those fundamental questions, right, is what do we think will happen with this parcel over time? So you've got property owners who have interest now in trying to see their property sell. and obviously are going to need a, or want a rezoning from SA. I don't think, although somebody here can tell me I'm wrong, that this board would think that this is a spot where we're gonna see active agriculture in the near future.
Well, one of the things that has bothered the ACAC, one of our committees, is, and I guess this happens more often than I'd like, they put in an application to cut the trees, saying they were gonna grow winter wheat, which they never grew. And that committee has asked me as liaison to make sure I expressed that, because they were concerned when they saw the trees being cut down.
Yeah, so I think, and Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things they ran into is a piece of equipment on site caught fire at one point, and during that fire leaked chemical, and so there was a kind of a closed site while we had to deal with whether or not the land would have to be remediated prior to growing crop on the land. I don't know.
That I never heard.
That was the story I got, but I don't know. That wasn't from the owner, it was from somebody leaving the fire, so I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Mark, do you have any ideas? No? Okay. All right, well, who knows? But either way, they did not grow winter wheat. And here we are.
You know, the only other thing I would suggest to you, you may want to think about whether you accepted the SA land study or not. I believe RKG also recommended this as a site for light industrial logistics, e-commerce kind of uses in the future as well. So that the planning department and the planning board's positions on this are grounded in the documents that we have to guide decision-making.
I think there are rezoning amendments that fit within the current bicentennial plan that could go forward as is, and I'm okay with a stuck parcel if that's what it ends up being with the wetlands there as it is. I intend to vote yes on it tonight.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? If there's a few votes heading that way, then we'll just leave it as is. All right, we can just go into the board meeting and find out, I guess. Okay. All right, yep, thanks, Dan.
Yes.
Then the other piece is Resolution 210, which is 46, 54, 60, 68, 74, and 84 South Linden. Dan, I should have. No, I should have kept you up here.
I thought that got pulled.
I spoke with developer's attorney, and he's aware that you were not thinking you were going to take any action on this evening, and so he will not be here, nor will the residents. We gave them an
You
email.
did reach out to residents, that's what I was going to ask.
We did, yeah.
So my concern on this one is that the site does, only addresses the lamppost by turning, the backside of, garages to the lamppost. And regardless of what lamppost is gonna become, or stay as is, or, it's a functional park back there. I mean, it's private, but I feel like we probably need to do a better job of imagining how the properties interact. And this was my comment to Dan earlier in the week, so, are we adjourning this then? or-
I would like to make a comment.
Yeah,
When we sold the paper street to the developer, I, along with other people, were under the impression it was going to be single-family homes, and I was shocked when it came in as multifamily, and that's my concern. I was fine with single-family homes there, but it is in a neighborhood that part of the neighborhood is primarily single-family homes. And the lamppost is not going anywhere right now.
right. But
And so,
I just think that the entire treatment right now needs some effort, whether it's single family or not, like, unless you say Well, so right now, that both the developer and the residents are both under the impression that we're not taking action on it tonight. So I'd like to adjourn it or withdraw it for the evening. We can set it back on the agenda for August.
And if you,
Okay.
Brian, if I might, I'm sorry, Angela, go ahead. You know, I've had, we had a meeting with the developer following your last meeting, kind of talk about alternatives. I think he's still thinking about that, so he may come back with a different concept, maybe a different density, which is really the problem. His density exceeds that which single-family designation in the plan calls for.
I mean, the single-family detached that they're building on Harding, different developer, but that the developer's building on Harding
Yeah.
are pretty tight.
Yep.
Site-intensive, single-family.
Yep.
You know, it's still a different product, so.
Right, and that's kind of what we, you know, why don't you come back and show us some other alternatives for that parcel?
Yeah.
And I've had several conversations with my contact at the Land Post. I think they're interested in talking about the future of that property when it's appropriate. So if you want to adjourn it, that, obviously that's fine. If you have some direction for us.
No,
in terms
you know,
follow up.
at some point, right, every single family home that started getting built here was like, you know, minimum of 1,800 square feet, you know, 2-story, big tall pitch roof, you know, full 2-story floor plates, built-in garage. And there was a time where we were building capes and ranches and smaller homes that were still single-family detached, you know, not the standard patio home kind of rinse and repeat. So it's like, you know, we've just gotten away from all of that, but that neighborhood's kind of characterized by ranches.
That would be really appropriate.
Yeah, it's form and context there, I think, that are both important, and I think there's still some opportunities there to work that.
Okay. So I'd like to adjourn that to the second meeting in
I
August.
think Angela,
But why are we adjourning it? If the public hearing has ended, we've given the residents time to speak, we've received the letters, we've heard the developer's thing, they can move forward with a different single-family site plan as is on the way it is currently zoned. We've been adjourning this on the developer's
Well-
request since January.
So in this case, you know, I'm saying, so we
I know we've
contacted
communicated as
residents and
such.
told them that we were
But
adjourning,
I just
so-
don't understand the impetus for doing that when it is once again on our agenda. We've gotten all the
We
information.
can certainly vote if the board feels that we should vote this evening.
I don't want to take it out of the hands of residents. It's just, like, I
We've-
don't understand the continued.
we've
holding
done
of it.
that before.
Well, so.
When we're trying to get some changes in a product, we've suggested things, and some of it's been on the agenda for a while because they came in with something totally different than any of us expected.
Well, prior board, we expected. but-
Well, okay, and the planning department expected as well.
But the comprehensive plan currently has this as single-family. So denying the amendment to the comprehensive plan doesn't limit their ability to submit a site plan that is R3, which is in character in the neighborhood. So even if they come back with a site plan that is single-family, they don't need an amendment to the bicentennial comprehensive plan. Am I correct?
That's correct. As long as the density they're proposing
just,
falls within those guidelines.
I don't want to take, I understand if it's been communicated to the residents, but at some point, like,
Yeah, I agree. I think we just set a final adjournment date to the end of August and be it where it may at that point. Okay.
Yes.
All right, on to our items and the potential consent agenda. Councilwoman Marinucci, you've got two, a reappointment to Glen Park Joint Board and an appointment to Youth Board.
correct? The Joint Park reappointment is a longtime appointee to the Glen Park Joint Board. He's great, Paul. And then our Youth Board nominee is a new nominee that Mary Diana recommended for the Youth Board.
Any questions about those?
Their names in there.
Any reason to withhold them from consent? All right, resolution 616, a 2024 water line replacement project. OCPH, it's 700,000. Is that voice? What is it, voice? Oh, Ken? Order for a call public hearing, yeah, okay. So Stan used to make us do that, so it's just like a relapse now every time I, okay. So any reason not to set that public hearing via consent? Okay. Resolution 617 is settlement and release, Town of Amherst / Geico, the amount of $65,000. Any questions regarding the settlement? Any reason to withhold that from consent? Resolution 618 is a settlement of an Article 7 matter, Brompton Heights Incorporated versus Town of Amherst. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 619 is a settlement of Article 7 matter with West Her Acquisitions LLC versus Town of Amherst. Any questions regarding that resolution? Any reason to withhold that from consent? Resolution 620 is Granicus LLC, meeting management software for MinuteTrack CRS 4969. Any questions regarding that software? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 621 is a 61-inch Turf Tiger mower CRS 4962. Any questions regarding that purchase? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 622, budget transfers and amendments. Any questions regarding those? Any reason to withhold them from consent? Resolution 623 is an award of bid for 2024024 garbage and recycling totes and carts, CRS 4903 and 4904. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 624 is an award of bid 2024029 for police vehicles, CRS 4953. Any questions regarding the award? Any reason to withhold it from consent?
I do have a question.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Is there a reason Falls Dodge was not selected? It looks like it's almost $4,000 cheaper. I see that there is a slight longer wait on the van. Okay. How would I see that?
We have to pull the specification
Okay.
scoring. You want to withhold that? We stock Ford Interceptor parts.
No, I understand that, but it, on the, like, the bid sheet that comes to us, it doesn't say that it's that thing, so when I look at it, there we go, thank you. Perfect, thank you. Appreciate you, Linda.
Any reason to withhold it from consent? No. Resolution 625 is authorization to submit MS4 mapping grant application. Any question regarding the submission of the grant application? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 626 is authorized supervisor to sign WQIP grant application for funding waste, the WPCF oxygen separation plant. Any questions regarding that resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 627 is authorization to install one fire hydrant Royal Park Sports Complex improvement, Town of Amherst, project number 2019.055. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 628 is a public improvement permit number 3121, streetlights, Harding Road subdivision, 2005.101/SUB 2022-01. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 629 is a postage meter rental and service agreement with Quadient Leasing Incorporated and Lineage Incorporated, CRS 4952. Any questions regarding that postage meter rental and leasing? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 630 is a record inventory clerk / town clerk's office. Any questions regarding the appointment? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 631 is program leader for youth and rec. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 632 is a recreation supervisor for youth and rec. Any questions regarding that appointment? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 633 is a recreation supervisor, youth and rec. Any questions regarding the appointment? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 634 is the Youth Service Program Coordinator for Youth and Recreation. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 635 is the Youth Service Program Coordinator for Youth and Recreation. Any questions regarding that appointment? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 636 is Assistant Code Enforcement Officer for the Building Department. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 637 is a Police Officer for the Police Department. It's 3 positions. Any questions regarding that resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 638 is the Police Officer for the Police Department, 2 positions. Any questions regarding the resolutions? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 639 is the Police Officer for the Police Department. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 640 is a Police Officer for the Police Department. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 641 is an appeal of denied certificate of appropriateness for the St. Mary's Mother House located at 400 Mill Street. We'll be dealing with this out of order following the public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 642 is a request to utilize the Stress Properties Trust account for property maintenance at 160 Campus Drive, Amherst, New York, 14226. Any question regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 643 is to authorize the adoption of revisions to the Erie County PHA Consortium Administrative Plan governing the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. Any questions regarding that resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 644, Digital Surveillance Solutions, DSS, CRS 4879, Security Repairs and Upgrades to the Town Buildings. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 645 is the Amherst Senior Transportation Incorporated, CRS 4967. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 646, the Town of Amherst bid 2023031, Sodium Hypochlorite Contract Extension, JCI, Jones Chemical Incorporated, original CRS 4248, CRS number 4951. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 647 is the Energy Efficient Lighting System, CRS 4965. Any questions regarding that resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 648 is authorization to use Mollenberg Vets. Any questions regarding the resolution? Any reason to withhold it from consent? Resolution 59, Boy Scout Troop 4, request for waiver. Recommend we grant the waiver. Any reason not to do that via consent? Communication 60 is correspondence from Sean Hopkins Esquire for 1789 Dodge Road. Recommend we receive this, refer to the Planning Department. Any reason not to do that via consent? Communication 61 is correspondence from Sean Hopkins Esquire. Proposed project at 1790, 1860, and 1920 North French Road and a portion of 999 Campbell Boulevard. I'm going to recommend we receive this, refer it to the Town Planning Department. Any reason not to do that? Not to do that via consent?
We're voting on most of these. This is just.
Communication 62 is correspondence from Sean Hopkins Esquire regarding the proposed project at 4300 Millersport Highway. This has to do with a road that the developer would like to see turned over to a public road. Yes, we've been talking about this with regards to an action item. I'd like to make sure we try to get to an action item on this some point soon. For now, I'm going to recommend we receive this, refer it to the Planning Department and to the Engineering Department. And communicate.
And highway.
And highway, sorry. Didn't mean to leave you out. Communication 43 is correspondence from Sean Hopkins Esquire, 455 and 495 Shellis Road. And I would ask that, so in this case, we're asking for this to actually be moved forward, right, as a project. And so, so for this one, I mean, we could refer to the planning department. Ultimately, we have to decide whether we're gonna unstick the logjam of stuff that is hung up because of that SA study. So I would ask the planning department to please move forward with the project now that there is an SA study out there. I knew this was gonna cause a conversation.
Dan, you should just move your chair next to the,
No, it's just my day, I guess.
no,
Okay, so,
during the meeting.
Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my read of the correspondence is that you're looking for a change in the designation of that property in the SA land report, and what would likely then be a modification of the comprehensive plan for that area.
But I think there was a prior request submitted that request the planning board evaluate this before the SA report came out.
Well, since the letter writer is here, maybe the letter writer can clarify.
Let's just talk about them in third person.
Sean, thank you for coming up and clarifying.
So, Mr. Howard's correct. We're asking that the draft version of the SA zoning report be updated to change the designation for this particular parcel to R3.
Okay,
We did try to file a rezoning application for this.
right, and that's what I was gonna say, because we were waiting for the SA report.
Predated the SA report. That's okay.
So you don't want to, so you're waiting to have an SA report updated before you're gonna file anything? Is that what you're?
I believe I've been told that's what would have to happen.
And there's a head nod behind him.
I think so. I mean, this would represent a variation from the comprehensive plan for the area in North Amherst. So we would want to take a look at that. I don't recall exactly what the designation is up there. But, you know, you're introducing another element to a development scenario for North Amherst.
So the dilemma that we're in is that the town board was dealing with SA requests, rezonings of SA, so we said we'd like to move forward with the study. So now we have a study, but the study hasn't been adopted yet. There's a developer who had previously requested an SA, a comprehensive plan amendment, that it was told to wait till an SA study come out. Now the SA study came out and would be opposite of the requested comprehensive plan amendment, but we have yet to adopt an SA study. So it seems to me that as a landowner, he has a right to have us as a board deliberate whether or not we should change the draft SA
The stuff down in here.
study
It's one of these parcels
first
down here.
before adoption,
It's one of these
and then
parcels down
two,
here.
ultimately have the right to have a request
I don't know which
for
one of these it is. It might be one of these over
a
here.
comprehensive plan amendment,
get the-
at least discussed, right, planning board, and so it's kind of like there's like a cart horse situation here. Regardless of how the board feels, we may ultimately vote. You know, so can we deliberate the validity of the SA plan without hearing from the developer directly? How would we want to go about the SA?
Well, let me just point out, I happened to have the SA plan with me, so we're not sure exactly of the address. It's either recommended to remain ag or be an R1.
I think the parcel's actually split.
455.
It's, I don't know
No,
if you can,
there's
I don't know
no
if you can read,
addresses
can you
on
read the addresses on there? Because it's, yeah, they are, you just
On that
can't see
thing.
them.
So if on the map, it looks like it's over here. On the map that comes up, it looks like it's right there at the curve. I don't know exactly where it is, but it looks like it's over here.
So, I mean, this kind of comes down to how does the board want to move forward with the SA study?
Well, I've been trying to get us to deal with the essay study for 2 years.
Okay, well, here we are. So how does the board want to deal with the essay study? We had a new presentation from the planning firm.
I'm uncomfortable with piecemeal amending an essay report that was done by a third party. If we are going to accept it as something that we refer to, I'm okay with moving forward on that, but I don't want to piecemeal amend that part and then go back to the bicentennial plan and amend it that way. I don't,
I understand that.
Yeah.
So the question.
Even if we accept the report, a developer can come in and make a request.
and as a point of law, there, and Marty, please correct me if I'm wrong, but was there a moratorium placed on any?
Nope, there's no
amended plans? So
moratorium.
He should have been able to file if he had so wanted at the time. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
He
Yes.
should have been able to.
That's
but
totally
he
fine.
was
I just want to
told
make sure
no.
that I understand that we're
so-
not having a floodgates of those that were awaiting,
Well,
There isn't a floodgate of people waiting.
just making sure.
The reason we waited is because you were having that report
Yes.
prepared, it just
Right.
took longer than we envisioned.
And I respect that.
in there, yeah, so there is so like the property on Dodge Road is moved forward because that report, this property wants to move forward, so.
So, Brian, just one thing I would remind you of, I believe in our transmission of the report to the board prior to the presentation, we included a memorandum with a couple of recommended courses of action in there. One was to try to hold off on any kind of piecemeal implementation of it until you decide what you want to do with the report, how you want to handle it, whether you want to, large number of rezonings at the same time or not rezonings. And so I would just go back to that memo, take a look at the alternative courses of action and before you decide to do anything.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I did read that report, and I appreciate that, and I'm comfortable with accepting the report as is without adopting it, and then I am not comfortable with doing a massive 1,100 property rezoning and then allowing developers or landowners to come forward with requests in line with the essay report or out of line with the essay report, and us to adjudicate them one by one as is, and using it as another document available for residents to review and look to see how we're basing our act.
That was
And that is
actually,
one of the things you recommended,
So
correct, Dan?
that is what we recommended.
Yeah.
I was involved with the study.
That would require board action, so we would then have to schedule post a resolution to accept the findings.
I'll put it on the next board meeting.
So would you want a recommendation from the planning board on that?
Yeah, that's a question. Have they reviewed that document?
They have not. However, they'll be faced with all the requests that come through.
That's right. it
No,
is.
I think that's
I thought
an
we,
appropriate referral.
it was discussed with them. They're not unfamiliar with it happening, though.
They're aware that it was taking place. They haven't seen the report.
Okay.
Not officially, anyway. They haven't, we didn't distribute it to them and ask them for any guidance, so.
Well, it was a report that the board requested, so that was why it came to us.
So I'm asking, do we want to refer to the planning board?
Yes.
So-
That means how long before it can come to us?
It would be, I believe the meeting is August 19th.
Oh, you will put it on that
Well,
agenda,
Let me-
because we
let me
missed
check.
the deadline.
Actually, I think it might be the day after, like this month it is. Let me check. I'm not sure. The next meeting of the planning.
Can we try and put it on the August agenda for the
we
planning
can.
board?
We can. I'm just not sure where it falls with respect to the second town board meeting in August.
Well, it probably wouldn't be the type of item that I would
Wait.
put on the first town board meeting in August. Isn't it at 3 o'clock?
It is.
Well, I will tell you when the planning board meeting is. Hang on.
I think you're right. I just think the timing is off. You got the dates, Jackie? I think your
Looking,
meeting is on the 19th.
yeah.
I think ours might be on the 20th.
I actually don't have it in my phone, which is weird. No, it's on the 27th.
Okay, a week later
Why
then.
is it on the 27th?
we moved it.
No, it's a Tuesday, but
Yeah.
that's like the fourth Tuesday.
Right, so it would have been on the third Thursday before that, and we
Yeah.
moved it to the following Tuesday
So
to,
it would be on the first meeting in September.
for you, yes.
Okay. Okay. Clear as mud? I don't know where we got to here, but as regarding the communication, I would recommend we refer to the planning board and ask the planning board to please schedule a review of the document, or refer it to the planning department and ask the planning department to please
No,
schedule a review of the document by the planning board.
The letter is not about the document per se.
It is. It's still a letter about the document,
Okay,
and the planning board certainly has the ability to consider the letter as part of their review.
So we'd prefer you refer the report to the planning department with subsequent review by the planning board and not take any action related to any specific property until the planning board provides their
okay,
findings and recommendation.
that makes sense.
But I do think that, again, just like any other document coming before the planning board, Mr. Hopkins and his client would certainly have the ability to petition the planning board for a change in the document if they so desired.
Which we've done.
Right. Okay. Okay, any reason not to do that via consent? Okay. All right. I'm going to motion to adjourn to an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations related to bargaining unit contract and a personnel matter related to an individual.